Okay, how's it going, y'all? Let me get this queued up here. So today, what we're going to be discussing is a topic that is very near and dear to my heart, and something that, frankly, is under discussed in the land business. We're going to be talking about how does mindset, right? How does mindset play into your success? There's so much talk, and I'm guilty of this, right? There's so much talk about strategies and techniques, and that will only get you so far, right? If you don't have the right attitude up here, you don't have the right programming. Doesn't matter all the tactics or strategies that you're using, you're going to be in a world of pain, and it's going to be the biggest bottleneck you'll run into. John, what's up, man? So before we dive into it, we'll wait a couple minutes. I'd love to see it, John. We'll wait a couple minutes before we get kicked off here, before we get into the nitty gritty. Been having fun doing these lives. I think they've been pretty cool. One thing for anyone here that's brand spanking new, I'm going to do two things for you. One, inside the chat, I'm going to share our Discord. Okay. Landinvestor.co/Discord. Totally free. Come get involved, right? Get in the right room. Part of the shifting your mindset is that 4-minute mile syndrome, right? Getting in the right room where people are shifting your worldview. They're making you think different. You walk into a room where there's guys that are younger than you, girls that are younger than you, that are doing 6 and 7 figures in your land investing business. That changes everything, right? So getting in the right rooms is half the battle. Just got your first land list data coming from single family house wholesaling. What's up, man? Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining the dark side. We hear this pretty often. Every week we get a couple of folks joining LIA who have kind of made that transition from house wholesaling. We actually got a guy in the program, Dennis Yasko, who just made the transition from house wholesaling and has put together some insane results that we're going to be sharing here on the YouTube channel. Again, another link for you guys, landinvestor.co/apply for those that want to get an application in for the LIA Group Coaching Program and essentially supercharge your land business with us over the next 12 months. You guys can do so. Going inside of the Discord, you'll see a lot of what's going on in the group, and you'll kind of get a read on what we're all about, right? I always tell people we're here to build businesses. If you want to be a deal maker, if you want to just piece together deals here and there, that's what you're into. We're not here for you, right? Wrong group, wrong people. There's a lot of folks out there that want to show you how to make deals happen. There's really no one that wants to show you how to build a land business. And the land business side of things is what really gets me fired up. That's the stuff that's life-changing, right? Yes, you need to make money to have some level of freedom, but after that, it's not a linear relationship anymore. What you need is leverage. And leverage is what gives you that ability to step back and still make money, whether you're involved in the business or not, right? I think it's always a bit surprising to people, but currently I probably spend, I don't know, 5 to 10 hours a week in my land business. And that's the beautiful thing about creating systems, creating leverage, but actually looking at this from the lens of a business builder. Now, I will say that undulates from time to time, right? We'll go through seasons where we have a new initiative. There's an inflection point in our business, and then I'll roll up my sleeves, get my hands dirty, and kind of go through that process with the team. Anyways, guys, let's dive into it. The mindset of successful land investing. Frankly, there's not enough content out there on this, and I'm excited to start sharing kind of my thoughts around it, right? I walked into this business, a snot-nosed 24-year-old kid who had no business doing any kind of real estate deals, who knew jack squat about real estate. Right. I walked into this business with $7,000 to my name. And you know what was the one thing that I had that was a competitive edge? What was up here, right? What was in between these two ears right here? That was the only competitive edge I had, because I walked in this business, I didn't even know what a deed was. I had hardly any money for direct mail. My girlfriend and I were handwriting letters to get them out to the door to sellers. I was terrified to talk to people on the phone. Terrified. Like, I felt like I did not belong. Right. When I got on the phone with people, I would be shaking. But at the end of the day, it was what I had up here. It was the only thing that set me apart. And frankly, I think this is your competitive edge that no one can compete with. I don't care what the new strategy is, what the new technology is. If you've got the right thing going on up here, everything else becomes irrelevant. So let's talk about step number one in building the right mindset for land investing success. It comes down to commitment, right? Every week we have about 25 to 30 people that schedule calls with the team to learn about LIA, right? One of the things that we see between some of those folks, right? The folks that are successful versus the folks that we say, you might not be a good fit. It comes down to commitment, right? Before you get involved in this business, You need to figure out, do you actually want this? Are you committed to the outcome? Are you committed to the fact that there's going to be bumps and bruises along the way? And this is not going to be easy, right? It's simple, but it's not easy. And so the folks that we have to turn away are the folks that want a side hustle. They want to dip their toe in the water. They want to, I want to try it out. This is not for folks that want to try it out, right? For the folks that want to try it out, someone will come and take your lunch from you, the folks that are committed. And so there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, this isn't actually something that I want to do, right? There's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in that. In fact, I think anyone that knows what they want in life, that's something that deserves applause, right? Having clarity on what you want is a powerful thing. And so before you dive in, I don't care if you've never sent a mailer before, if you've never done a deal before, start figuring out, are you committed to this? Is this something that you actually want to do? And a great way to do that, right? This is a kind of a secret strategy. Go to folks that are 10 steps ahead of you and say, hey, do I want their lifestyle? Do I want to be like that person, right? It's a really good way to kind of forecast what the future is going to be like. So go hang out with the guy or the girl that's at step 10 and you're at step 1, and you can say, I don't really like their lifestyle. They're stressed out all the time. They don't really seem like they're having fun. Doesn't really seem like they enjoy the business. Maybe I don't want to be that person. On the flip side, if you say, damn, this person's living a cool life. They look like they're having fun. They're traveling all the time. They don't really seem to have a care in the world. They're happy-go-lucky. Maybe that's what you want for your life. What's up, Noah? And so try to get in the right room and say, do I want to be like this person? Is that future version of myself something that I actually want to create? And that will help create clarity, which will help you decide if you want to commit to this or not. All right. Anytime I'm looking to go do a new thing, a new business, a new whatever, I got to figure out, do I want to be like that person? Because the truth is, in this life, you can be whatever the heck you want. Humans are malleable. Who you are today does not have to be who you're going to be tomorrow. You got to control that. But the thing that's a prerequisite is having clarity, right? I always tell people, you get exactly what you want in this life. You just don't know how it's going to be delivered to you. You don't know when it's going to be delivered to you. But again, the prerequisite is just being clear. Most people have no clarity on what they want in life, and that's to their own detriment. The second point, in terms of developing a bulletproof mindset for land investing success, is accepting ignorance. On my land investing journey, this was the hardest one for me to wrap my head around, right? Coming in and recognizing, hey, maybe I don't know much at all. And maybe that's actually a risk to me, right? In terms of slowing down my progress, but also, what if I make such a big mistake that I get myself out of the game? I always talk about this. Every single month, we get people that are reaching out that said, Sumner, we've spent 25 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand on marketing and have gotten no deals. You can tell me, do you have an aptitude to do that? Are you willing to stick in this business even if you sink 100 grand and nothing comes from it? A lot of times, these are folks that have been successful in other areas of their life. And so they think, well, I've been successful here, so I'll be successful here, right? Like it's just going to be a one-to-one carryover. And I came in with the same mindset because I had had a little bit of success in other businesses previously. I said, this can't be any different. We're just selling a widget, right? Partially true. Like, yeah, we are just arbitraging a widget, which happens to be land. It's not the craziest thing ever. But there's a lot of minefields along the way. There's a lot of red flags along the way that can get you deterred. I hope this guy doesn't mind me calling him out. I won't call him by his name, but I got a deal emailed to me from a guy yesterday who's been trying to get my attention on this deal for like a week or two, right? And he sent me an email like 2 weeks ago. For whatever reason, I didn't see it. He sends me another one today. He's super pumped up about this deal, okay? This deal is a bowling alley skinny lot. It's like a 20 acre, I think, that's landlocked. He's like, I'm going to buy it for 30. We can sell it for 75. I'm like, dude, you should know that in 30 seconds that this is not a deal. The fact that you've spent weeks of time sinking hours into this deal and that you've been trying to go find someone to partner with it on you, that you've been going back and forth with the seller is a risk to your success. That is a detriment to your success. That is slowing you down because instead of saying, hey, I don't really know much, let me go find someone, you're trying to go and figure it out on your own. And that's a real danger. The other thing though is like, I was just thinking about what if this guy actually did the deal on his own? Well, that'd be a really unfortunate position. The truth is I spent 2 years in my business buying landlocked deals, deals with title issues, deals on sides of cliffs because I just didn't know better, right? I knew the business side. I had no idea about the landslide. And so accepting ignorance, accepting that, hey, I'm going to come into this and I'm going to be a student, right? It's a really, really powerful thing to just come to terms with. I think for any of us that are type A, that have a little bit of ego, that think you're capable, it's a really hard thing to admit. But that is the highest form of confidence, of saying, hey, this is not a detriment to me by saying I need some help in this life, right? I think as men in particular, and this is true for all genders, but I think for men as in particular, it's really difficult for us to say, hey, I need help. Hey, I'm not doing good. Hey, I feel some type of way, or I'm confused. It's really hard for us to admit that. That's the highest form of confidence and power, in my opinion, is admitting when you need help. Number 3, you know what I did this morning when I was sitting outside? I was visualizing exactly how I wanted this day to play out, right? Spending time visualizing the outcome, defining what quote unquote success looks like, really getting really clear on what you want your days, your weeks, your months, your quarters, your years to look like. Again, this goes back to point number 1. You get what you want in this life. You just first got to get clear on what you actually want. And you need the discipline to forecast that, right? We are like antennas, right? What we put out there will just come back to us. It's the darndest thing in life, and I can't explain it scientifically, but I've seen it play out time and time and time again in my life, right? You are a magnet for how you feel and for what you put out there. So start forecasting the right stuff. Start visualizing exactly how you want your days, your weeks, your months, your years to play out. Get clear on that. And it's a real discipline, and it feels woo-woo and it feels funny, and people like to poo-poo it. But I'm living proof. Like, just getting clear on what you want is really, that is the beginning of the battle, right? I grew up with a single mom. My mom had me at 19, dirt poor, no money, food stamps. I mean, like, I didn't go to college. I was nothing. Like, if I was a statistic, I was going to be the kid that turned into nothing, right? The classic case of someone in poverty who just kind of gets lost in the system. But no, that doesn't have to be my story, right? I get to create what I want to create. And part of that starts with visualizing exactly how you want your life to look like. And that happens daily. One thing that I really recommend to anyone that's skeptical around this stuff, anyone that says, kind of weird, look up Dr. Joe Dispenza. Highly recommend Joe Dispenza. Will really start to shift your view around this stuff. The guy has empirical evidence from running studies on the power of changing your emotions via forecasting what you want your future self to be like. And it's really powerful stuff. His books are amazing, podcasts amazing, all that good stuff. The 4th point, this was actually a hard one for me to overcome, is speaking about it, right? Telling your friends about it, your family about it, sharing it on social media if you want to, making YouTube videos about it, right? Once you start putting it out in the world and other people know your little secret of what you're going to do, we want to be held accountable in the eyes of other people, right? Some people don't have that intrinsic kind of accountability to themselves. But if you go and put it out there and you tell your family, your friends, everyone about it, it's a whole lot harder to let them down than it is to let yourself down, right? And so really putting it out in the world, speaking about it, not only is that going to help you stay accountable, but then the world starts conspiring in weird ways to work for you, right? The more I talk about this stuff, the more we get potential employees reaching out, the more we get deals sent to us. Like everything, you just become this, like the sun, and things just start orbiting around you just by putting it out in the world, sharing about it, right? That was really hard for me to overcome because frankly, you guys want to know why? I was scared that if I shared about it, people were going to steal the opportunity from me, right? And that's another really powerful point. This scarcity thinking needs to get the heck out of here. Gone are the days of scarcity. There's enough land out there. There's enough sellers out there. There's enough money out there. There's enough deals out there to feed everyone and more. And way more than you could possibly imagine how much opportunity is out there, right? And so I had so much scarcity around. If I share this with the world, people are going to come and take my little opportunity. What a small way of thinking, right? And when the second I started putting it out in the world, you know what happened? More started coming to me. My cup started overflowing. That's the power of speaking about it, but also through speaking about it, you change your mindset around scarcity, right? And you start tapping into a world that's truly abundant. Every single time we run out of gold, they say, we found all the gold. Gold has been discovered. The price of gold is going to go crazy. You know what they do? They go and find more gold. Just the way the world works. And at some point, they're going to start mining gold from asteroids. Humans are ingenious creatures. There is no such thing as scarcity in this world. We never run out of resources because we are ingenious. It's the weirdest thing. Like, yes, I know how logically it sounds like, well, Sumner, there's only so much food. There's only so much water. There's only so much this. But we are living proof that that's actually not the case, right? So anyways, very interesting point to me. Start speaking about it. Start sharing it around the world and getting your message out and telling people exactly what you're going to do here. Call your shot. There's nothing cooler than someone that calls their shot and then does that thing. Man, that's cool. You guys want to know an interesting story? So when I was the only corporate job I ever worked was in 2019, and I was I was a sales guy at a design agency. And like an idiot, I don't know. I probably could have gotten in trouble for this, honestly. I started working my business at work, taking calls at work, doing stuff on my computer. And so everyone seemed to tolerate it, which is kind of weird, but I definitely felt like I was kind of riding a fine line. And I started talking about this to my coworkers, right? Started talking to it about everyone that wanted to listen. And people were really interested. Like, dude, that's so interesting. You're buying little pieces of land and selling them for 300, 400, 500% returns. That's crazy. And you know what's crazy? So it's 12 months, fast forward 12 months from there. I leave that job. I go full time in the land business. When I leave, my boss, the VP of sales of that company, calls me up and says, "Hey, Sumner, you got room for one more? I want to come and join you." Here's a guy that's 20 years my senior, has way more experience than me, way more money than me. He's helped grow this design agency from a couple 100,000 to like 5 or 6 million a year. And he was kind of like the guy in the trenches doing it. And he says, "I want to come and work with you." I mean, what an opportunity, right? What a freaking opportunity that only came about from speaking about it. Fast forward 4 years, in the month of May, we had Derek Davis come and join LIA. Used to work with him at that same company. We had a guy named Victor Pasmino come join LIA. Used to work with him at that company, right? That all came from just putting this out there. Just this crazy full circle rotation that happens. And the world starts conspiring for you once you start sharing that stuff in the world. So the last point is kind of morose. You might be like, dude, that sounds weird. Do I really want to do this? Yes. You want to start visualizing what's the worst case scenario, right? Start playing out those ideas in your head. This is something that the Stoics used to do. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like Marcus Aurelius. And the Stoics, what they would do is they would essentially say, "Hey, if my day was filled with annoying people, mean people, evil people, if I had the worst happen to me, what would that look like and how would I respond?" Right? And the truth is, no matter who you are, no matter how lucky you are, no matter how much money you have, when you start in the land investing business, again, it's simple, it's not easy. Shit's going to happen. Stuff's going to get hard. You're going to have some moments where you say, "God, is this really for me? This is tricky. This just happened. Someone wants a return on the property, or I bought a deal with bad title or whatever," right? Things will happen. It's just the nature of this business. Visualize who are you going to be in that moment? How are you going to handle that, right? I'm not the first person to say this, but like when you're in the lows, how you respond to that is everything. That's really what's going to make up your character and how far you can take this thing. And so start playing that out. How are you going to react when that happens? It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Tough things are going to happen. An employee is going to leave. Someone's going to steal money from you. You guys want to know something weird? I had a guy who was owner financing land from us. He had our wire information to put a down payment down. I don't even know how this is possible. Somehow he used that wire information to like run it through some ACH platform and just started funneling money from us every month. The irony was he was stealing thousands of dollars from us a month and then paying us the $400 a month for the owner finance deposit from some of the money he was stealing. And he just kept on just taking more and more and more and more and more and more out. Things like that are going to happen. Okay. Yeah, Alex has just had a 30K profit deal evaporate yesterday, right? When the stakes get raised, the lows are lower, but the highs are higher. Alec, in the last 6 months, have you made more money than you have in any other 6-month period in your life? Yes or no? I'll let you answer in the chat. I would imagine that the answer is yes, right? And so he says 100%. Alex with us inside the LIA program made more money than he ever has in 6 months and then loses a deal that's worth 30K. I don't care who you are. Having a $30,000 check evaporate is a tough feeling, but we got to keep things in perspective. I would say, Alec, your business exploded, your life has exploded, you're on the right trajectory, but as that trajectory goes up again, those lows are going to be lower. That's just the nature of things. So yeah, worst case planning, reading some Marcus Aurelius, understanding how the Stoics think is really, really powerful. Something that's been really difficult for me to accept is that perfection doesn't exist, right? I'm going to have people that aren't nice to me, that don't like me. I'm going to have problems arise in my business. I'm going to have employees cheat me, steal from me, leave me. It's all going to happen. And a lot of it already has happened. And I got to accept that that's not a personal reflection on me. It's not something that I did wrong per se. That's just walking this path, being like the man in the arena that they talk about, right? Most people in life, they're sitting in the bleachers, they're just watching, they're not doing anything. If you're one of those people that's taking action, you're in the arena, you're chasing down goals, visions, whatever you want to do with your life. Well, walking that path is going to come with a lot of bumps and bruises, and you just got to accept that. That's totally okay. That's been a really hard one for me to get over. I think I have kind of people pleasing genetics. So I always want to do perfect, do well, this and that. That's a real problem. Does anyone have any questions y'all want to throw in the chat? You guys want to do a little Q&A? Anything I can help with? Doesn't have to be related to mindset, land, anything I can assist with. If so, drop it inside the chat and I'd be happy to help any way I can. We've got some pretty exciting lives coming up on here. Also, we're going to be doing a LIA meetup in July in San Diego. We'll be releasing the dates on that. I'm going back to San Diego for the summer. I live in Vegas right now, but going back to San Diego for the summer. Going to be there until like September. So we're going to do a meetup in San Diego, just like a one-day event, probably happy hour, come talk land, chit chat, hang out. And then in October, we're going to be doing a full-fledged weekend mastermind here in yeah, I'll answer that in a second, Victor. Good question. And so, yeah, before Halloween in October, we're going to be doing like a little mansion mastermind here in Vegas. Going to make a 2-day event, Saturday and Sunday. Going to be super fun. So we're going to be releasing dates on that here in a little bit. Victor says, hey, Sumner, what does your daily schedule look like? That's a good question. It's changed a lot. I used to be the kind of person that would fly out of bed and just get straight to work. I would work until 1 o'clock, maybe, go to the gym, come back, work, go watch sunset or take a walk around, I don't know, 5 or 6, whenever the sun was setting, come back, work till 9, go to bed. Did that for a long time. And frankly, it started to be a detriment in my life, right? I got burnt out doing that for years. And so nowadays it's much more leisurely. I'll give you guys the exact play-by-play of how almost every single day for me goes Monday through Friday. So I wake up usually 6:30 till 7, something like that. I used to wake up at 5:30, just kind of giving myself a little more grace there. I think it's also seasonal. I adapt my sleeping habits and whatnot to the seasons. So I know, and we just had summer solstice yesterday. I know this time of year, the days are longer. I'm going to stay up later. I think that's how humans have lived for a long time, right? We are in sync with the seasons. And by virtue of that, I'm going to go to bed later. I'm going to wake up a little bit later. Now in the winter, I go to bed at 9. And so I wake up at 5:36 just naturally. I try not to use any alarms. I just want to wake up when my body wants me to wake up, which is usually 5:30, 6:30. And then in the summer, maybe a little bit later. Wake up, go get some sun on my face, go get outside, just sit in my backyard, try to get as much sun in my eyes, get my circadian rhythms going, let my body know, hey, it's time to wake up. Come inside, drink a bunch of water. I probably drink 3 or 4 of these huge things of water every morning. And then my girlfriend and I, this is probably one of my favorite things in the whole world. My girlfriend and I sit on the couch together and we read for an hour. We drink our coffee and we read for an hour like an old couple. There's something about starting your day with your partner, though, and just learning and just embracing a curiosity, not being rushed to go somewhere, that for me is like, it's a pinnacle experience. Her and I both look forward to it every day. Outside of that, once I'm done, spend 5-10 minutes kind of visualizing how I want the day to look, and then I get to work. Everything on my calendar, I just have everything broken out. So like on my calendar today, it just kind of breaks down everything that I need to do. Every day is slightly different, right? Like right now I'm going through and we're hiring new roles inside LIA. So interviewing people, we're building out some new funnels as it relates to like this webinar that we've been working on. We're revamping our launch control, so our whole texting for the land business. So it really changes week by week. I'm just typically taking down a week and saying, what's the biggest initiative I can work on? What's the thing that's going to have the most leverage? And I just bite-sized chunks, boom, 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 just start working through it. I don't take any calls. I try not to take any meetings. I just typically do a Wednesday meeting with my team, and then I do the coaching call on Monday. But I try to keep all my work being very proactive. I like stuff where I can sit down, I can think. It's kind of deeper work. I hate doing reactive stuff, taking a call here, doing this, doing that, comping this deal. I try to optimize my life to avoid that because I just don't feel like I thrive in that. It doesn't make me happy. I really don't enjoy it. The thing that brings me the most joy about being an entrepreneur is the ideating, right? Coming up with a new idea, a hypothesis, testing it, reviewing the feedback, reviewing the results. And that's to me is the most fun thing. Being in the operations, being in the trenches, I frankly just don't find it that enjoyable past a certain point, right? And so I try to keep myself out of that as much as possible. I'll typically go to the gym at like 1 or 2. If I'm not going to the gym that day, I'll go for a run, usually at like 3 or 4 when it's a little bit colder here in Vegas. And then my girlfriend and I will go do a hike, go walk, get outside, get in nature together. Come home, eat some dinner, watch some Narcos, relax. Just very chill. Every night, though, I religiously read before bed for about an hour, and I read in the morning for about an hour. So I get about 2 hours of reading to start the day and finish the day. I'm a huge believer. Reading's everything. Like, reading is such a launch pad. It's such a ridiculous proposition to say, I can buy someone's life work or all of their knowledge for 20, 30, 40 bucks. What an insane proposition. You can get huge downloads that someone spent decades working on, and you can get that for a measly sum, right? For me, I also find it meditative. I think any of us that are in this entrepreneurship kind of type A game, you're trying to build something, trying to do something, it's really easy for you just to have motor mind where your mind just constantly buzzing, going. And reading's a really good way to kind of tone that down. Dude, Juan, you're a genius. Yeah, what the heck? You got great eyes, my friend. So yeah, this is Almanac of Charlie Munger. Really cool book, really big book. It's actually kind of hard to come by. Really, yeah, awesome book. I don't know how much longer Charlie's going to be around, unfortunately. So I kind of think, I don't know, maybe this might be a book investment. Who knows? But it's a really cool book. I haven't finished it yet. It's a tome of a book. Victor says, how far ahead are you scheduling your calendar? It depends. For certain things, it might go out a month or two. But typically, like I talked about on Sunday inside the group, every Sunday, I'm going and breaking down what my week's going to look like, trying to figure out what's the stuff that I can kind of have the biggest leverage on that's really going to make the biggest impact. And then I go and build that into my calendar. So in most senses, it's week to week, right? Monday through Friday is how things are usually built out. There are some stuff, though, that does bleed longer and takes longer and will take up more time. But like the longest out my calendar typically goes is like 3 months. So not super far out. Anyone else have any questions? Anything I can help with? Life, land, business? Who here's doing deals? If you're doing deals, put a yes in the chat, just so I can say, hey, who's active? If you're not active yet, just put a no. No shame in that. But let me know inside the chat who's doing deals. I'm curious how many of you are active inside your land business. Yeah, Jay, I think that's you. I'm going to guess Jay check 779 is Jay. Victor says yes. Cool. Well, guys, if there's nothing else, I guess we'll call it here. Oh, I know you're doing deals, Alec. But yeah, appreciate the hangout. And I hope this was helpful, right? I don't talk about it enough. Really, most people don't talk about it enough. Everything in the land business is like strategy, technique. That's relevant, but that's got like a capped potential. You know what I've learned is like, hey, if I want to get to the next level, right? If I want to go to 8 figures and beyond, I've been really thinking about this. And I'm like, the game is not about either doing just more, right? So like, hey, we did 200 land deals, let's do 700 land deals. I don't think more is that just like perfectly scalable. I think after a while, taking like a quantity approach becomes really difficult. I'd rather go more of a quality approach. And I don't think it's just new strategies, new techniques, right? I don't think it's like, hey, let's do RVMs now, let's do cold calling, let's do all of this. Frankly, a lot of it is up here, right? That sounds crazy, but I really do believe that. I really do believe that. I've seen that pretty much every time in life that we've had a big jump. I've had to reshift my mindset first. And what's weird is usually the big jumps come after a big slump. Kind of have a dip. I have to start recalibrating, start getting more proactive on creating that vision, start really attracting what I want, and boom, you take off. It's like clockwork. Victor, have you thought about doing land development? Yeah. I mean, we just closed on just listed a subdivide deal, like full on development. No, I don't think that's me. I don't think that's something I want to do. I think it's a great way to make money. And there's definitely a lot of upside. It's an interesting angle too, if you have the land acquisition arm to go and do that. I know Jay's on the call. I was talking to Jay about this a couple of weeks ago. Like, I look at my business as a conveyor belt, as an assembly line. I don't really want to do a whole bunch of different things, right? I just kind of want to continue to perfect that, just put more land on it. And every now and then we can build out a new kind of vertical in the business. Hey, we're going to go do subdivides now. And it takes a pretty similar process. Maybe we add a few more people to it. But I don't want to be the guy that does the fix and flip, the development, the entitlement, the land flip, the owner finance. I don't know. It's not my style. What I would want to do though, Victor, is still do exactly what we're doing, but start making partnerships or relationships with developers and say, hey, I've got the land. Give me some equity in the deal, right? I want to. Sorry, Jay. No disrespect meant by that. I'm just talking about me. Um, but, but yeah, what I would rather do is make the connections with someone who's an expert there, and I can be the expert at land acquisition. I go give them the deal. I get equity in their development. I was talking to a friend yesterday. He's living with his aunt and uncle, I think, up in Washington. I don't know if you guys know Ajay. It's Ajay's partner, Ben, and partner in his business, Ben. And he, yeah, his aunt and uncle, I'm pretty sure his aunt and uncle, this is what they've done for their whole career, right? They just do land acquisition and then just go pawn it off to developers and get equity in the deal. And it's essentially like an annuity that pays forever. And I think they've only done a handful of deals in their life. And they just, to my understanding, they just live off of that. That's a cool angle because then again, I don't need to change my conveyor belt. I'm doing just the same thing. All I know is, hey, I'm using a little more discernment. When a deal comes in and I'm like, hey, that might have development potential. Let's go find the guy who's got the development conveyor belt and they go do it. I don't want to do all that stuff full stop. So just my 2 cents, no right or wrong way to make money in this world. There's no shortage of ways to make money in this world. Just kind of what I was thinking. I got a quick question. Something I've been thinking about. One thing that we've wanted to solve inside LIA, and I think we've done a pretty good job with it, is like creating community, right? Creating camaraderie, both digitally and in person. Kind of like I was talking about earlier with the upcoming San Diego meetup and the bigger one here in Vegas in October. But it would be interesting to get all of the worlds to collide, and not like a land investing trade show. That sounds pretty boring. But I don't know how many land investors there are out there, maybe a couple thousand. It would be really cool to create that and to get everyone together. Literally in every angle, this is such a fragmented business, but really in terms of community, it's also very fragmented. And I kind of want to fix that because I think with community, we all win. It's not the scarcity game. We're not taking from one another. Community, my business has exploded. Everyone else's business that is kind of hanging out with people, started making friends and getting out there. Their business has grown as a positive side effect of that. But it'd be interesting to create like the central hub of community in the land business. You could call it a trade show. It's really not that, but they have trade shows for auto interior manufacturers, or they have trade shows for people that make airplane seats. I mean, they have trade shows for the most niche industries. I do think that could be applied here in land. So just something I was thinking about. Also, those businesses trade with really huge multiples. There was a business that just sold. I'm interested in selling businesses. I think if you really want to build big wealth, having a big liquidity event in your life, whether it's selling a big deal or business or what have you, is a good way to do it. Unfortunately, land business has no real sellable value or very little. It's a cash flow machine, so it's a double-edged sword. But you don't build up much equity in the business. But I'm always interested in businesses that just trade at huge multiples, right? There's a business that I was looking at recently that's doing about $30 million a year in top line revenue. And they're doing about $9 million a year in profit. And they're a trade show business. And they just sold for $120 million. Crazy. That's like a ridiculous multiple. I mean, if you're doing like an e-commerce business, might trade at 1x revenue. If you're doing an agency, you might trade at 1x revenue. I mean, a lot of the business people start nowadays just have very little intrinsic value. But it's kind of interesting. I think the land space could benefit from it. All right, guys, I got to hop off. Hope everyone's enjoyed hanging out. Thank you for making the time. Again, if you guys want to get inside Discord with us, it's landinvestor.co/Discord. Come hang out. The more the merrier. Anyways, guys, hope everyone has a beautiful, I almost said Thursday. Take care, guys. Bye.